We're here doing an interview on recording artist Jesse Woodside, whose album is actually scheduled to be released in sometime at the end of the summer. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually we're working on it right now. About August 1st is our deadline to have everything done, and then the middle of August, sometime September, we're hoping to push everything out the door.
Great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to take this time initially. I would like for you to take the next few minutes to actually go ahead and tell any of our viewers, fans, just let us know where you're from, where you're coming, and where you're going.
Well, I'm from Fairfield, California, and I moved around a lot as a kid. I lived in Washington, Oregon, Colorado, did numerous parts in California, and I've been watching my dad play since I was a kid, and I never really got inspired till I probably hit about 8 years old, and I finally picked up a guitar and decided, this is fun, this is something I want to do, and I just kind of tinkered around with writing songs. And someone came up to me. I'd have to say I was 19 or 20, and they asked me, or they didn't ask me, they asked me if I could make a promise to him. And the promise was, can you promise me that you'll do something with your music?
During the course of this project, he went through a very heavy breakup.
I actually, at one time, put the dream on hold. Because that was, the person that I made a promise to was a little more than a friend.
It was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And I made the promise to her, and I think she realized that I did put that dream on hold for her in my own mind. And maybe she realized that she needed to let me go to let me fulfill that part of my life.
So she actually breathed some life back into that dream then.
Yeah. It was a big shock. Big time. It hit me like a ton of bricks. But you know what? I found it and I held on to it, and it's looking good. It's looking good. So.
She sounds like a great girl. I think a lot of women wouldn't be able to step out of the picture like that. They're so self-consumed. Nothing wrong with that, gender. But at the same time, it takes a really strong woman to actually sit there and recognize that, your love for her is not necessarily spun out of control, but it's to the point where now you're not fulfilling your dreams, and if they really care, they have to leave. So I think she's a wonderful woman. I think she's what's her name? Or we can just completely we'll talk about that later, or not talk about it at all. That's completely fine. We won't even go into that. Yeah,
if I can say that. So.
As well. Are you willing to give me that name, or are you just gonna stay silent on that one?
He probably wouldn't want me to give you that name.
Fair
because,
enough.
He's a very, I won't say closed off individual, but he's a very private individual.
Pow.
Ouch.
I shot you. Now you're dead. You wake up on a bed of clouds, and the angelic form of Taylor Swift whisks your way to heaven. Okay? So you get there and you meet St. Peter at the pearly gates. Now you're searching, your name for the good book of eternal life, if you believe in that. And he comes to a hole at the bottom of the list, and he says, Mr. Woodside, there seems to be a problem. And you say, okay, what's that? And he says, well, there's only one remaining space on this list for a country artist in heaven. And you're like, what's the problem? I'm the only one here. And as he shakes his head in disagreement, he points to a crowded line behind you. And when you look back, you see Kenny Chesney, Phil Fazer, Brooks and Dunn. And then he says, and then the list goes on. And then he says, I'd be happy to let you in. But the problem is the big man upstairs doesn't really listen to country. So he's kind of confused on which one of you guys he should let in, because he doesn't know what the difference is between either of you. Right? And then St. Peter says, maybe you should pick up your guitar and show him how you stand up from the rest of these clowns. So what song would you play?
I would play Ruin It All. Only because it shows that instead of doing something for myself, I'm willing to do something for someone else.
Even just in recording that song, it was very difficult for him to even get through it.
I guess I would chose that one just because it was the hardest to write and it was the hardest to actually record on this album.
You know, most songs will go in and we'll take time to do the vocals. And this song in particular, I had him go in and just sing the song all the way through. He managed to get through it 3 times, and the third time he told me, you know, that's it, I can't get through it anymore.
I said in the microphone, I was like, I can't do it again. I can't sing this song again.
You know, he's got a really big heart, and he's one of the few artists I think nowadays that are writing music that's very honest and very real. He doesn't write about anything that he isn't experiencing or that he doesn't actually believe. And I think that's something that's kind of lost its way in music.
It's definitely a genuine characteristic that a lot of today's artists don't have. I would agree. So from an engineer's and producer, especially when working on this album, point of view, would you say that that's one of your favorite songs one of the songs that you enjoyed recording the most?
I think, well, in Ruin It All in particular, you know, again, when I said that I heard that song, and I was like, it's got to go on the album. The way that he sings that song, and the way that, what he's even saying in the song, you know, like, for me personally, and again, I think because Jesse writes about songs that are very real, I think we all relate because we're going through those same things. When I heard that song, I had to be a part of it, and I asked him very graciously if he would let me write a piano piece to it. And I think he was taken back by my response and how humble I was to ask for that. That song in particular, you know, playing the piano part on it, that's the first piano piece I've ever written for anything, but for some reason I felt so connected to what he was singing. I just felt like I had something to offer for it. That song's probably my favorite song on the album, yeah.
Real.
Yeah, it's a song basically just saying goodbye. There's 1,000 lines, 1,000 times what I'd say to you. I hear the dial tone, I'll just hang up the phone. Couldn't do that to you. 'Cause what if you found someone to hold you all night long, make you feel like you're the only one might call? You could run it all. Oh yeah, if I had to take this pain someone again someday.